One of the most economical moves that you can make is called a master cut, because a master cut defends your opponent's attack and counterattacks simultaneously in only one move. It's very similar to combining the cone of defense with the thrusting riposte, making it into a single motion. You're moving into the cone of defense and you're cutting at the same time. You could do this to the inside or outside of your body, and you can perform the master cut high, middle, or low. Let's take a look at each one individually. First, the master cut high. Referring back to the last lesson, if I start using my high rear guard, so I'm taking my high guard and I'm dropping it back, I know that about the time it hits my ear, Brian should make his attack. And when he does, I'll know before he does. I'll be ready. I'll be able to beat him to the center line. Now remember, this is a race, that if I'm dropping this back and still moving it back when Brian attacks, I'm not going to be able to reverse my motion. So I'm bringing it back just enough that he falls for it. And when he does, I move in. I'm blocking his hands and I'm striking his head at the same time. You can see here that I am in quadrant 3 of the cone of defense. This would be quadrant 4, quadrant 3, 2, and 1 to the outside of the body. So at first, as Brian makes his cut, I'm coming in from that quadrant 3 cut from the bottom here, striking his head. Now I could do the same thing with the handle high. I could move into quadrant 4. Go ahead, sir. Boom. And so now I'm striking him low with the tip and the handle up high, blocking his hands and hopefully preventing him from being able to strike me again. One more time. Boom. That was an even better one. So I blocked his hands very clearly. No way he's going to be able to touch me with that sword. But even though you make a good cut, you still check that blade as you retreat to a good guarded position. Now let's take a look at the middle inside. As Brian strikes horizontally, if I try to block horizontally, our swords are parallel and there's no profile of my blade to catch or block his blade with. So as he strikes horizontally, I cut down, blocking his sword. My handle is lower than his blade, my tip is higher, and I'm cutting him in the side of the head. If Brian were to strike low to the inside of my body, I drop the tip of my sword. You can see that I've blocked the handle there and I've cut the inside of his leg, cutting that femoral artery. I could come out with a slice and again, check the line. So let's review the inside. High inside. Now, why would Brian be attacking, or how do I know where he's going to attack? How am I controlling this? I may drop my sword into a fool's guard or a low guard, and as he makes the cut, I come in, block his hands, and strike him at the same time. He comes in medium. I'm in a high rear guard. As he does, I check it, and I cut him at the same time. I'm high, so he cuts low. I drop my sword, again, controlling the center line and making my cut. Now, to the outside of the body, you're going to need to step through to have strength, because if Brian cuts to the outside and I try to win the line, we're 50-50 here at best. I think he has the advantage. Go ahead, push. Let's push. Yeah, he's going to win that. And he has the force of the strike behind his attack. So he's going to blow right through that block unless I step through. And so as Brian loads on the other side of his body, I may bring my sword over here. I've given my head as the target. As he goes for it, I stepped in. Now I've changed the mechanics. I have good structure, good alignment, checking his sword with my forte, cutting him with the end of my sword. If he were to cut horizontally, middle level from that offside, again, drop the handle and try to keep the tip on the target so that as you step in, you're cutting down across his head. And then as he cuts for the outside of my leg low, again, I step in so that I have good control of that center, good alignment, good mechanical advantage. I'm able to block his attack and simultaneously counterattack. Now, it is possible to do a master thrust. A master thrust would simply, as Brian, let's say he goes for the number 1 here, block and thrust all at the same time. So you can do a master cut, Or you could also do a master thrust. If you happen to be out of range and realizing, oh, I'm not deep enough, step in and thrust. Brian managed to parry my thrust just past his face. That's okay, it's not wasted. I push against, and now I come back with a slice. I can still win the encounter. Your homework for lesson 8.3 is to practice the master cuts. High, middle, and low, both to the inside and outside of your body. As you train, remember, although the block and strike occur in one move in a master cut, the defense must take precedent. You can't afford to trade strikes, hitting just to get hit.